The Golan Heights, one of the spoils of the 1967 war, home to 20,000 Israelis and source of 1/3 of all Israel's water. But what of the Syrians left behind? With families torn apart and all borders closed, they come to talk to their loved ones across the Shouting Valley. Across the Shouting Valley on AlJazeera.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download AlJazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovis store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from Al Jazeera English. See the world in real time. Al Jazeera Mobile.
Egypt's cabinet says the country's stock market will reopen on Tuesday. It's been shut since January the 27th because of all the trouble there and the economy of the country. Pretty badly affected since the 18-day revolution, particularly the tourist sector, which has been very badly hurt by the violence. We sent Andrew Simmons to Luxor, and he found no sign of tourists going back.
The waters of the Nile, a voyage through ancient history that's always attracted foreigners. Not now. Egypt's revolution won new freedoms, but its tourism industry is still in shackles. No visitors, no business. Yet nearly everyone living and working here in Luxor depends on tourism. If things were normal, these cruise ships would be crammed with holidaymakers plying along the Nile. Instead, they're all at anchor, as far as the eye can see, and there isn't a tourist in sight. Hotels have single-figure occupancy, most of their staff sent home, restaurants are either closed or struggling to stay open. Yet it's peaceful here, even though soldiers maintain a presence, bored with little to do. Egypt's ancient attractions stand proud with no crowds. Last year, more than 14.5 million foreigners came to see them. Now, at any time of day, you're pushed to find a few, and most of them are Egyptians.
But there's something very interesting about the column here for Amenhotep III, about 22 meters high.
The only tour guide at Karnak says it's getting near breaking point.
You work day by day. Sometimes have a job, sometimes no job, but now no any job. For the stay at home, we spend from our pocket all the money. Maybe one day the money is finished.
The Valley of the Kings, it should be 10,000 tourists a day. Instead, Mustafa El-Gindi, former opposition member of parliament and one of the revolution's key players, is able to give a rare private viewing of King Tutankhamun's tomb. Mr. El-Gindi says if the economy is to be revived, the land of the pharaohs needs tourists to heed his appeal.
We are suffering, definitely we are suffering, but they are ready to come. We need you now to tell the whole world that you respect Egypt, that you support the revolution in Egypt, and you are here to support the economy of this country.
Tour companies are slowly responding, and the country is ready. Next month should see an upturn, but it has to be big if the new Egypt is to get what it needs, the first step in reviving its economy. Andrew Simmons, Al Jazeera, Luxor, Egypt.
Oh, that is beautiful. How about the sport, Farah? Looking good?
Well, let's hope for you England will be able to come through there. And it's the match cricket fans have been waiting for right now. India are taking on England in the group stages of the Cricket World Cup. India won the toss and elected to bat, which turned out to be a good decision. Batting legend Sachin Tendulkar started with the bat, hitting 120 off 115 balls to help his side to a huge total of 338. Tim Bresnan was the pick of the English bowlers, taking a 5 for 48. The visitors are now batting and are 49 for none off 7 overs. To football, and Barcelona have extended their lead to 7 points at the top of the Spanish Primera División after their 3-0 win at Real Mallorca on Saturday. Starting just 4 points ahead of rivals Real Madrid, Barca were hoping for their 23rd win of the season, and 7 minutes before halftime, Lionel Messi scored his 26th goal of the campaign to put the visitors on their way. David Villa added a second after the break, beating the offside trap to round the keeper to score. And halfway through the second half, Pedrito Rodriguez sealed the win for the Catalans. Final score, Real Mallorca 0, Barcelona 3. Meanwhile, second place Real Madrid could only produce a goalless draw away at Deportivo La Coruña. Despite dominating large parts of the game, the closest the visitors got to scoring was Cristiano Ronaldo, hitting the woodwork late on. Final score there, 0-0. In Italy, Juventus have dropped out of the European qualification places after losing 2-0 at home to Bologna on Saturday. A second-half brace of goals from Marco Di Vaio gave the visitors the win. The first came 4 minutes after the break, the ball looping up over the diving keeper. Now his second came 15 minutes later, Di Vaio skipping around the defense to score at the near post to seal the points and move Bologna up to 11th place in the league. Now, the early game in Italy Sunday saw Catania beat Genoa by 2-1, despite Genoa taking the lead in the first half. Antonio Flores, the home side, struck back with 2 goals in 5 minutes after the break. Gonzalo Borgesio with the second to take the points for the home side. And these are the other matches taking place in Italy on Sunday. 6th place Roma will host relegation-threatened Parma in just a few minutes' time. Roma will be looking for their second win under new coach Vincenzo Montella. The late game sees 3rd place Inter Milan visit Sampdoria. Arsenal are getting ready to face Birmingham for the English League Cup final at Wembley Stadium on Sunday. The Gunners have a chance to win their first trophy since the FA Cup in 2005. While Birmingham's last major trophy was back in 1963, Arsenal are the favourites to win. They will be without injured captain Cesc Fabregas and winger Theo Walcott for the final. Instead, Dutch striker Robin van Persie will be leading the team.
We have stabilized the club in the Premier League, and we are now in the Carling Cup final. We respect that, and we know that we will face a Birmingham team who is highly determined to do well, and we expect them to be at their best, and that means a big performance from our side will be requested.
There are 2 matches taking place in the English Premier League on Sunday. Liverpool are currently taking on struggling West Ham at Upton Park. A win for the Reds would put them within striking distance of the Premier League top 4. The latest there is 0-0. 3rd place Manchester City hosts Fulham a little later. To tennis, and it was 3rd time lucky for world number 3 Vera Zvonareva in Doha. The Russians stunned world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki in the Qatar Ladies Open final on Saturday. Sana Hamouche reports.
An exciting week of tennis in Doha provided the final everyone wanted to see between number 1 seed Caroline Wozniacki and 2nd seed Vera Zvonareva. Wozniacki had been in the form of her life recently, winning in Dubai last week and ruthlessly getting to the final here after 3 very comfortable wins. But it had been a much tougher route for Zvonareva, who had 2 really tough battles in the quarters and the semis. But the Russians started the better, breaking straight away and dominating the match with plenty of attack and shots to take the first set 6-4. And there was more of the same in the second set, with Zvonareva playing the more controlled tennis and securing a crucial break in the 5th game, leaving the world number 1 frustrated. And after 1 hour and 48 minutes, the 2nd seed runner-up, the last time this event was held in 2008, held her serve to take the match in straight sets, and she was delighted about it.
Definitely a very special moment for me. I'm always love coming back here. I really, I have so many fans here. It's just unbelievable, and because of them, I think I was able to pull through this week, and I've done so well.
Well, there was a bit of a surprise in this final here in Doha. World number 3 Vera Zvonareva has won the Qatar Ladies Open and denied world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki her 14th title and 2nd in a week. Sana Hamouche, AlJazeera, Doha.
Novak Djokovic's great start to the tennis season continues after a victory over Roger Federer in the final of the Dubai Championships. And it was a convincing victory. Djokovic saw Federer 6-3, 6-3 in just 71 minutes to win his third successive Dubai title. The win adds to his Australian Open victory, not to mention his part in Serbia's Davis Cup win in December. Golf in Germany's Martin Keimer will officially become the new world #1 on Monday after his semi-finals victory at the WGC Match Play in Arizona. Keimer entered his match against American Bubba Watson, knowing a win would see him knock Lee Westwood off the top of the world rankings. Keimer went 2 up at the 16th and eventually sealed a second consecutive 1-up victory. He'll now face England's Luke Donald in the final. And that's it for sport for this hour. Back to you, David.
Thank you very much indeed. At the top of the hour, we're live in Benghazi. That's in eastern Libya, where the people living there say they feel liberated. But the price they've had to pay is a heavy one. Good to have you with us here on Al Jazeera.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines,
most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera.
Currently, specialized anti-narcotics teams are going deep into the jungle to find and destroy illegal coca fields. This is San Pedro prison. It's home to 1,500 inmates.
The inmates steal from each other, and in many cases, they may fight to the death.
It's the Tinku rite in the city of Macha.
For most of the people here, the more blood, the better.
Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
The ring around Gaddafi tightens. Armed Libyans in the eastern city of Al-Baida threaten to march on the capital. Hello from me, David Foster. This is Al Jazeera's extended coverage of the uprising in Libya. Also on this programme, another city falls. Protesters in Misrata claim victory, and witnesses say, though, that government tanks are moving in. Libya's former justice minister announces the formation of a national council and warns against foreign intervention. The UN Security Council hits Gaddafi with sanctions and threatens to go further if the bloodshed continues.